This is Sneaker Gears. My name is Levi, and welcome to the long-awaited top 5 video, or is it a top 10 of my favorite basketball sneakers of 2023-2024. I am missing a few. We do have a few caveats, but let's get into it. First off, thank you guys for watching the channel and subscribing. I do apologize for not posting in a while. Honestly, it's just been dealing with injuries, dealing with my knees, and just aging. And I'm thankful I am getting better. I am improving, and I'm going to have some videos on that. So there's going to be some health aspects in this channel going forward. Now, this video did start as a top 5, so I will put links below. But I do have a bunch of mentionable call-outs that are not necessarily ranked in the top 10, but I do want to give them their due because they are really good shoes, and some of them are just last year's versions of the new version. So we'll start with a pseudo number 10, and that is the Steph Curry. And right now they're at the Curry 11, 12. It doesn't matter. Since the Curry 8 or 9, they've used the same tooling, they use the same traction, the same cushion, and it honestly comes down to if you like the fit or not. All the Currys honestly are still my favorite shoe as far as just one shoe to do everything. The Curry, you're able to use that to go for a jog, play basketball, go lift weights in, or just wear them casually. They have a lot of different colorways, and I think Under Armour has a great all-around shoe. Doesn't surprise me that Embiid left Under Armour, because I don't know how he played in those shoes. They were not comfortable. I didn't do a review on those, but I do have them, and obviously they're already aged at this point. But if you're looking at the Currys, great guard shoe overall. You're not getting a lot of impact protection, but it does absorb that shock, so it is a decent balance where you feel quick, you feel low to the court, traction is great, and it is something that does what it does very well. There's no rubber, so it's not going to last you a long time as far as if you are wearing these outdoors and indoors. But overall, the Curry would be number 10. Number 9 are these bad boys right here, or should I say bad girl. These are the Sabrina ones for Sabrina Ionescu. Hopefully I pronounced that right. These honestly do feel, I don't want to say because there's a lot of shoes, I might mention it, kind of like a new version of a Kobe, just because they are a low top. That upper is this fantastic knit that is just really cool. I think the fit and containment on this and how the materials work are one of the best things that this shoe has going for it. I was able to do, I believe this is a women's 14, so that is kind of a men's 12 and a half. Again, usually I wear a 12 wide, or have to do a 13 on a lot of shoes. So for sizing this, I had to do a 12 and a half essentially. I also do a 12 and a half on the Currys, in case you're wondering. Again, they do run narrow, so for the Currys, definitely go half size up. And honestly, for Currys I liked, I've done 13s and they still fit just right for your wide footers, but the Currys definitely do run very narrow. These are actually not bad. The 12 and a half fit it really well. The width on these, essentially you have this giant outrigger, which I love, and it just gives a lot of balance, containment. The cushion is decent on this, just to have a 4-foot zoom, but I've kind of cheated because I really liked overall the traction on this. I've liked the fit on this, so I actually put, and you guys have seen this in my other videos, the Zoom Flight insole on these, and this has a Zoom Air in the 4-foot and the heel. So essentially it's like wearing a double stacked Zoom insole in these, which makes them really comfortable. Not to mention the fit is spot on, so I have something that fits me really nicely. The traction is good, the support is fantastic, the heel lock, how they use kind of the Nike logo for some firm heel cup action. You can kind of hear that where you really feel anchored in. These are actually a surprising shoe. The reason they're number 9 is because honestly the cushion is not that great, and I did have to fix it. These had better cushion, they would definitely be higher on the list just because of their materials. I think the fit and just the looks, I think really clean. Number 8 should get more love, but he was suspended and then he got hurt, and we really didn't see much of him this year, so I'm hoping him a big comeback. And those are the Ja Morants, or the Ja ones. These are super 90s basketball shoe. You have a big fluffy tongue as far as how it's going to fit you. It really does kind of have a lot of padding in the heel collar where you just get this old school vibe, like I'm wearing some Barclays or something, as well as the upper is really, it just feels bigger than what it is. I definitely had to go a 13. These do run a little bit narrow, but that 13, I'm gonna say these run short, like 100%. So these fit me absolutely perfect. So just like any shoe, the most important aspect is going to be your fit. If they don't fit you, it doesn't matter how good anything else in the shoe is, but the fit on these is amazing. The cushion on these, again, these only have 4-foot zoom as well, but whatever foam they're using, so I believe they were using, I don't know, a compressed Phylon or something like that. It's not something that's necessarily anything big. It's not React, it's not any ZoomX, it's not anything really revolutionary. It's just a standard foam from Nike, but it works so well. Now, I have used this with a bunch of different insoles, and I found them to be comfortable with or without. So with the Zoom Air insole, with a third-party insole, or just wearing on its own, they have been really comfortable. I would say, again, the fit on these is top notch. Traction, very similar, except in this colorway, at least, it is more of a solid traction versus the Sabrinas, but this traction works great. The containment on these with these kind of leather wings, you always feel really well balanced, and it actually is a very wide base. So overall, these have been a surprise. I honestly was looking at a bunch of different colorways just because I really like it. This was the first colorway I was able to get, and I do like that it is kind of neutral, and I probably could swap out the laces and put green or purple or blue and kind of make them pop a little bit, even the orange from the outsole. But the Ja ones, definitely something worth considering, and especially for the price. These have been on sale. You can get certain colorways really cheap for the price. These, definitely check them out. If you're a guard, this is way more cushion than maybe you need. If you're a big man, I think this is just enough cushion, but the fit and that old school feel, I think, is going to be a great addition if you're looking for that. Or you may feel it and be like, no, I need something a little more secure, a little bit lighter, closer to the skin, because this is a lot of cushion and padding around the shoe. It reminds me kind of like a long distance trainer for running. It's not super light and thin and agile, but it is something that has a lot of cushion and comfort around the foot as well as the foot bed. So definitely check the Jaws out. These are number 8. Number 7, and this is a shoe I have not done a proper review on, so this might be a surprise, and that's going to be a Player One. I'm not even going to pretend I know which shoe this is. This is their version 2 of their initial launch 2. Since this shoe came out, they do have a version 3. They have came out with a mid-top, and they did just launch an all-new shoe, which I'll put some links below. But these honestly took, let me grab it, a shoe we all loved, and I think has a historical relevance for just the person he was, the player he was, and when these came out, the Kobe 8s. And as opposed to what Nike does, where they kind of throw the baby out with the bathwater and start something all new, they took the Kobe 8s and have just continually refined and made these better and better. So this feels like a 5th, 6th generation of what the Kobe 8 would have been if they just kept evolving that. The upper on these is strong and light. It's kind of like a knit, but it does have a netting on it. It's absolutely a low top, as you can imagine here, but has a strong heel cup on there. Traction has been actually really good and definitely reminds you a lot of what you're getting on the Kobe. The only negative on this, and it's not even a negative, it's like a Kobe. It does run a little bit narrow. I had to do a full 13 on this. I don't even think they do 12.5, but let me get these out. What Player One has done, and kudos to them, is they used drop-in midsoles, kind of like the Kobe 8 did or the Kobe 9, but not only that, they have 2 other, maybe it's 3 other different midsoles that you can actually buy separate. So if you find one of their shoes that just fits you well and you want it a little bit closer to the ground, a little bit quicker, or you need more cushion, you can still get the same shoe with the same fit and modify that cushion, which is kind of what I've been talking about on my channel for years. These have been an absolute joy to use. I've honestly been using them with different cushions, with not only their cushion insole, but the Kobe 9 cushion, the Kobe 11 cushion, the LeBron 11 cushion, and they all fit in here and they work fantastic. Such a fun shoe. Want to do a full review on this, but also their new shoes just came out, so I kind of want to get their new shoes. I would love to be connected with them somehow. If you know anybody, hit me up. let me know. Let me see if I can do a review on these and kind of compare where they've evolved from this shoe to their newest ones. But Player One, definitely check them out. The fit, the sizing, the materials, the traction, the cushion, all of these are top notch. You're paying a little bit more of a premium, but I think the materials they use, the construction they use is all well worth it. Now, before I get to number 6, I do want to give a huge hole in this video that you may not have seen or noticed, and that is I do not have the Adidas AE1 or the Harden Volume 8. And that's because I just have not been able to get them my size. They have been sold out everywhere. Again, I'm a 12, 12 and a half, and every colorway has been sold out. Based on other reviewers and people I'm playing with, both of those shoes are standouts. Now, I do have the Harden Volume 7, and again, if you guys remember watching my review on these, this is a shoe I said might make it my top 5. I think this just missed it. This is number 6, and specifically this colorway with the leather, the suede, how flexible it feels, yet how durable and stable it is. This shoe does everything so well. Maybe it should be higher, but I just didn't wear it as much. So for my top 5, I didn't make it, but it might be in yours. And I feel like the Volume 8 and the AE1 are both better. So this is number 6, but I do want to give a shout out to Adidas because they are doing some really good things in their lineup that they haven't done in the years past with some of their new shoes with the AE1 and the Harden line, where definitely something to consider. But now, let's get to our top 5. Now, number 5 is one that I feel you should go and buy right now because the second version is out and I haven't gotten it yet, but it doesn't look nearly as good. And that's the Tatum 1. This is another pair that I definitely want to get a second pair because of what they've done with the Tatum 2 and just neutered it and watered it down. It's definitely not where this is. This is one of the lightest shoes you can get, a la Kobe. This is one of the closest shoes you're going to be playing to the court, where you feel very quick, very agile. You can actually see the zoom pad right underneath where your foot is kind of in the material of this shoe like a sock, right on the cushion, and it's completely, I don't know if you guys can see it, suspended within the frame. It is an incredible design. The engineering that went this is amazing, and I'm kind of saddened they didn't use this to evolve. I hope they evolve on this concept and this tooling and engineering on maybe even the flagship for the Jordan 39, but this shoe has shocked me. Now, the only reason it is not higher is for 2 really big reasons, and I do have a full review on this shoe. Is one, there's pretty much no traction on the heel. So if you're playing defense, don't get caught in your heel. You might get your ankles crossed, you might fall down. But the traction in the forefoot's fantastic. I play in the midfoot and forefoot. I never had an issue. I did put my heel down once, and it's kind of a lesson, and I never did it again, but I did not fall, thankfully. But depending on what kind of player you are, if you play in your heels for any reason, there's not much cushion back here, and there's not much trashing back here. So that means for a lot of players, this might be a terrible shoe, which is why it's number 5. But for me, really enjoyed playing with these. These are also a shoe that I did put various different insoles in because it actually works quite well in a combination with that zoom unit. And honestly, there's not much foam from this point going forward. It's literally just the shoe and just the Zoom Air. So to have an insole in there that gives you a little bit of cushion, I think ups this game of the shoe a lot. And for you to add an insole from whatever shoe you have, from whatever company you want to use, I think goes a long way to making this just outstanding. But the support on this with this giant heel cup, all this materials on that, you feel super close to the ground, so it's actually quite better stability than you would think just because you're so low to the court. Traction again on the forefoot's amazing. I had so much fun playing the shoe. Every single time I wore it, any person I let wore it was always surprised and had a lot of fun in it. Number 4, and I didn't think it was going to be this high because I feel like Nike just kind of regurgitated the same tooling for completely different shoes, as well as, again, they threw away the baby with the bathwater because they had something really great with the KD line from the, I think they started with the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 with that full length zoom Strobel. And then we got the 16 and it was, it hurt. that there was only Zoom Air in the forefoot. They changed it to an Air Strobel, and this is the same kind of cushion we got in multiple other shoes, and I will try to have a full review on this. But to my surprise, the foam, the combination of that transition from the Air to the Zoom, this was a really comfortable shoe to play in. Not to mention the fit, I think, was really greatly improved. They removed any of that heel slippage that some people did get on the 15. I didn't. The fit overall was really nice on even like me as a wide footer. Now, I did do a full 13, and these felt fantastic. The lateral support with these kind of wings without having a Velcro strap or something super chunky like it was in the previous versions, I think this was a little bit more streamlined. The fit was a little bit better. The cushion actually worked. It felt very evolved. So even though they didn't take the full length Zoom, which I'm sad they didn't, this works really well. This was one of the shoes, and I shouldn't say one, this was a shoe I kept in my bag as I did other reviews. So if I was wearing a shoe and needed to get broken in, I just had to take it off, I would have this with. If I was wearing shoes and I'm like, man, these just hurt my feet, this was my go-to. I didn't necessarily like this colorway, so also it helped for hooping because I didn't care if guys stepped on it, if I dragged my foot. Like, this was such a beater pair for me, but at the same time, I really enjoyed wearing them, and they held up even better than the Tatums. The Tatums have a lot of wear on that shoe for, I guess, the limited time I played in them because I have so many other shoes. These held up really nicely, and I'm happy to say that I can definitely recommend this shoe to almost any kind of player. It's not terribly heavy. The cushion isn't super high off the court. It's a nice balance that anyone is going to be able to play with. So if you need cushion, you're set up. If you want to play quick, you're good and set up. You have the support, and the materials in this is just a little bit better than what they've done on KDs in the past. So yeah, I was surprised at how much I like this, and maybe that's why it's higher, because I didn't have any expectations for it. But check out the KDs. This is your number 4. So it's funny, the top 3, we've had the GT lineup in it in the last couple years. And this year, you're not seeing any GT cuts or GT runs, but you are finally seeing the GT jump in the GT line. This thing is a beast on top of anything else you want to do. It is crazy. I'm just going to jump right into the cushion. You're actually getting, and hopefully you guys can see it there, a full-length Zoom Air Strobel. Crazy, right? On top of a giant heel stack of React cushion, and then 2 more giant pods of Zoom in the forefoot. It is beyond comfortable for someone who has been dealing with injuries. And again, take this video with a grain of salt for you, because if you are a lighter player, if you're younger, maybe you don't need that cushion. But if you are getting a little older, if you are battling through some injuries with your Achilles, ankle, knee, back, shoe like this with this much cushion, it's dangerous. And what I mean by that is it is so cushioned, you're able to play through or not feel some of the injuries that you might have to take care of, and you just ignore them because you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm just going to wear these. But you definitely want to take care of your body first. This is a shoe that is definitely over cushioned, I would say, for most players. This is my number 3 because of how thankful I was to allow me to play through some things, get some movement. Motion is lotion in your body. So if you're injured and you're not moving, you're not getting on the court, you're not really going to get better. Obviously, go to your doctor and your trainers, your physicians. I am not a doctor, but I do believe in continually trying to move and doing what you can while you're injured, and not just sitting and resting the whole time. You're not going to get better with that. This is a shoe that's definitely going to allow you to get back on the court, get some shots under your knees, get some runs underneath your feet. Like, this shoe is so incredible. Now, the first version I actually really liked, but it was overly stiff, so it had this max support and max cushion, and it just felt too much. But there was no other shoe that had the cushion like it, so I almost got a second pair right when these came out. The GT Jump 2, I think, refines that cushion by having way better of a transition from heel to toe with that full-length Zoom, the way the cushion from the foam blends with the Zoom Air in the forefoot. This is just another level of cushion from where the KDs try to take it with Air. No, this works. Now, I was able to do a 12.5 in this shoe. It does run a bit narrow, but this material, this kind of netting, does mold your foot really nicely. So I would say go true to size. If you have a normal foot, go up half a size. If you have a wide foot, the containment on this is still pretty impressive for how high off the court you are. This is like the Hoka of running shoes, and I can't even say that because most running shoes have a ton of stack height. I'm looking to see if I have any around me because I usually do have some high cushion shoes. All my running shoes are in another room, but this is like a super high stacked running shoe that you can get from any company now. I shouldn't say Hoka, Asics, New Balance, whoever you want to go, even Nike's super high cushion shoes. This does have more stability than you would think, but still be careful. You can absolutely roll your ankle on this, and this is definitely not going to be for the shiftiest or quickest player. This is going to be for your big man. This is going to be for anyone who needs the cushion, but you still feel quick, jumping, running, well cushioned. This does what it does very well, and it's unapologetic. I'm excited to see what they do for the Jump 3, and or I may have to get another pair of these because they were that nice. But I will say, number 1 and 2 were able to give me maybe 80% of this cushion, but allow me to play quicker and feel better on the court. So doesn't mean this is the best shoe for everyone, and that's why it's not number 1. Now, as far as the GT Cut and the GT Run, or what is it, GT Quick, I do have both of those shoes. They try to do a review on those. Obviously, those did not make the top 5, and there's good reason, but they are still impressive. But this, I would say, is the most impressive of the GT lineup for this year. All right, number 2, I'm kind of cheating here, is going to be the Jordan Signature line. And the reason I'm cheating is I know it's 2024. It's the Jordan 37. If you can get these in any colorway, I believe I have 2 high tops and a low top. These are unbelievable. For me, they were one of my go-to shoes that I can play with no matter what. It was either this or the KD I brought with me as a backup shoe. And the reason I say it's kind of cheating is because you have the 38. And these, they actually did do a really good job on, but I would say they made the 38 almost in contrast to the 37. And what I mean by that is if you are mid or forefoot striker, you have essentially a double stacked forefoot Zoom Air on this. That is unbelievably comfortable. It is amazing. This feels lighter. This has enough support where I felt good, but it's not the most supportive. All right. So on a scale of 1 through 10, this is probably a 7.5 support, right? Maybe a 7. All right. Give you a 7 support, but the cushion felt amazing. Now the heel, I believe they try to put the Formula 23 in here. I don't use my heel, so it's kind of like the Tatum's, but the heel wasn't nearly as cushioned. So I understand someone saying, hey, I don't like the heel cushion on the Jordan 37. It wasn't for me. As well as, I'm trying to see here, you have a zoom pad on the bottom, and you have kind of a full zoom pad on the inside right under your forefoot. So these were just so comfortable. Again, I want to go with the lightweight, the just enough support, and the cushion. Not to mention, I always felt great with the traction on these no matter which pair I had. I think I felt best with the low tops. Low tops increased that support to probably an 8 out of 10. So those are the best balance if you can get the 37 lows. The 38, they flipped it. They increased that support to probably a 8 or 9 out of 10. They put most of the cushion in the heel. It is super, I guess, cush. If you land on your heel, if you're jumping, if you run in your heel striker, huge difference. This is going to be vastly more comfortable for you. Now, they did put a full length zoom on this, and then they put a full length slab of their new foam, which it's not new. They're calling it Cushlon 3 or something, but it is really soft. And walking around, these felt really comfortable for me. When I started playing, because I had about half the cushion on the forefoot as these, I just really enjoyed playing in the 37s way more. The support I really liked, but again, I didn't need as much support. I felt better with the 37s, and these felt a little bit lighter on foot. So if you need that support, if you appreciate, I would say these have maybe a little bit better materials. And if you play more on your heel, or you like that lower to the court feel, because this does have only a little bit of foam and a full length zoom, this is something that probably will be better for you. But I would say the 37s were the best for me, but 38s, I don't think they made it worse. It was just for two different players. But either way, the Jordan signature line, 37 or 38, was my top two shoe of the year. And your number one shoe for 2023, 2024, and I say this with regret because being in Chicago, I wouldn't say we're LeBron haters, but we weren't always the biggest LeBron fan. Now, I will say after, 20 years in the league, him being a family man, everything he's done, you have to respect the man. And again, I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but his shoes in the last 2 years, I don't know what it was, maybe with the injuries, whatever he's had, he went to a low top. He made them way lighter than pretty much any LeBron in the past. Changed the cushion setup where I love these. Now, I'm going to start with the 20. The 20 has been my number one shoe I played with in the last year plus. I ended up getting 3 pairs of the 20s in different materials and such. This colorway is their uninterrupted, I believe, collab, and essentially it uses like a canvas upper, which is really cool, and kind of a gum rubber, and this thing is just really well done. Now, this specific shoe I was able to get at a Nike outlet, and it's a size 13.5. The LeBrons in general, I did feel ran a little tight, so I do have a 12.5, a 13, and a 13.5. And the 12.5, I use a little bit thinner insole in them, and that's the standard one. And then I do have this one, and then I do have the NXT version, which is a little bit lighter weight, and they change where they put the zoom in the forefoot. But no matter that, it's still LeBron 20, still felt great. What makes this the number one shoe? It is giving me a ton of cushion as a max cushion shoe, as LeBron has been over the years. It's giving me something that's still light enough. It's not super lightweight like the Jordans, but it's light enough. Traction has been good. The lockdown, what they did with the upper and the fit has been fantastic. And it's just something that I can play in no matter what injuries I'm battling through and enjoy it. Enjoy it as far as I know this shoe has me locked down for support. It has a decent outrigger. It actually is fairly wide base. Like, I feel planted. I feel cushion. I'm running this. I'm not getting a shock with my knees, especially as I'm going through and battling injuries. And again, I'm glad I'm on the other side of it. I've been able to enjoy playing basketball with this shoe, and I can't give a shoe a higher compliment. Now, the 21. Honestly, it's the same shoe. They really did the exact same thing. The only difference is the 20s did have way bigger of a shank plate for torsional rigidity right here in the middle. They put a much smaller one here, and you know what? I did feel it. I do have some minor plantar fasciitis I deal with depending on the shoe, and after fairly long plays, I did feel the fact that this did have a smaller shank and it's not as torsionally rigid. It does feel like it flexes a little bit easier than the 20. The upper, especially in this colorway where it feels almost like a leather, I actually really love this colorway. Molds to your foot. I know there's been issues, a lot of players saying that the upper on the 21s is not that durable, and when you're playing hard, it can rip through. I'm not going to test the durability of the shoe. I'm here to say, how does it perform on the court when you're playing? And this is something that you absolutely have. I would say maybe a little bit better traction on this. You're going to have a little bit more support because it does hold you in. But when you're playing hard, yeah, if this rips through, if the if the glue starts to give out, the material, they're not making shoes super durable like they are in the past. They're making them to be as light, as quick as possible, and companies are kind of expecting you to buy a new shoe every season. If you play in these hard, if you're practicing these every day, I know the wear and tear is going to be a little bit worse on the 21s than it was for the 20s. So I'm not here to say that's better or worse, but something to keep in mind. But you're getting essentially the same cushion setup. You're getting maybe a little better support if you did need it. You're getting something that's really low top and fairly light for what you're getting. I'm going to say the 21s always feel a little bit heavier, and it could be this material versus this one. Again, this is a 13, this is a 13.5, and this still feels way lighter, even as a half size bigger. But they are both really comfortable, really comfortable, really comfortable. I can wear these off the court, on the court, I think the style works well, where I can play in these, I can run in these and not have knee issues. I have the support I need. These have been a really good balance. The Jordans have that kind of propulsion plate, not necessarily, but they do push you forward, and I do get a lot of fatigue in my Achilles after playing those, even though I love that it kind of helps me push forward. The GT jumps, those are super cushion, and I don't feel as quick, and this is something I'm getting 80-90% of that cushion. Same thing over the Tatums and any other shoe, you're getting more cushion, you're getting as good or equal support as anything else in the market, and you're getting it in a shoe that just works. Highly recommend the LeBrons, even though I'm more of a Chicago and Jordan guy, but there is not really another shoe or any company on the market that's going to do it like these. I do have the Way of Wades. I haven't had any Antas, and I do try to play in every single shoe from every single manufacturer, and these are beyond legit. So if you're looking for the best shoe to play in, honestly, it sucks that these are one of the more expensive side of things, but you get what you pay for. Guys, girls, sorry for that long video. Hopefully it helps you guys out for the top 10, and hopefully I can make more videos more frequently. As always, I really appreciate you guys, really appreciate your comments. Please consider giving the video a thumbs up. This is Levi with Sneaker Gears, and I will come at you later.